So, why did Ripple launch RLUSD when they already have XRP? If you look across the entire crypto landscape right now, one massive question is dividing the community. It's creating confusion, starting arguments, and making people question their long-term holdings. The question is simple. If XRP is the ultimate solution for global payments, why on earth did Ripple create RLUSD? Why bring a stable coin into the mix when you've already spent years building the infrastructure for XRP? For some people are genuinely worried that Ripple is quietly moving away from XRP, leaving retail investors holding the bag while institutions shift over to a stable asset. But a major breakdown shared on X by analyst Mariano Sevilla reveals that this assumption is completely wrong. In fact, the reality is a brilliant chess move that completely redefines how global finance will operate. So in this video, we are breaking down the exact mechanics of this dual asset system. We will explore why these two tokens do not compete, how they fulfill entirely different needs for giant banks, and why this new setup is actually designed to accelerate the growth of the XRP ledger. So let's get straight into the facts. So, are XRP and RLUSD competing products inside the same ecosystem? According to the analysis shared on X here by Mariano Sevilla, the single biggest mistake people make is treating XRP and RLUSD as if they are rivals in a boxing ring. People think that if one wins, the other has to lose. But that completely overlooks how global banking actually functions. Now, here's my opinion. I see this misunderstanding all the time. Investors tend to look at crypto through a very simple lens. They want one coin to rule them all. But traditional financial institutions do not think like retail traders. Giant banks manage billions of dollars, and their absolute number one priority is risk management. They cannot and will not expose their daily operational capital to market volatility. Expecting a conservative bank to hold millions of dollars in a fluctuating asset just to prepare for future payments is unrealistic. That is why treating these two assets as competitors makes no sense. They are built for two entirely different jobs. Now, how do banks balance the need for price stability with the need for speed? This is where the technical rules of each asset become beautifully clear. Mariano Sevilla points out that financial institutions require absolute precision in their account balances. They need to know that $1 million today will still be $1 million tomorrow morning before a transaction is triggered. Because of this, XRP was never designed to sit passively in a bank's vault, acting as a stable store of value. Instead, XRP's entire purpose is to be a high-speed vehicle that moves value rapidly between different fiat currencies. Its price fluctuations are not a design flaw. They are simply a characteristic of a free floating asset moving across open markets. Now, here's my opinion. This is the missing piece of the puzzle for most investors. Think of it like an international shipping system. You need a secure warehouse to store your goods safely before they are shipped, and you need a high-speed cargo jet to move those goods across the ocean. RLUSD is the secure, climate-controlled warehouse where the value sits safely without changing. XRP is the supersonic cargo jet that transports that value to its destination in less than 4 seconds. You don't blame the jet for not being a warehouse, and you don't blame the warehouse for not flying. They need each other to complete the delivery. Now, why does RLUSD provide the on-ramp that financial institutions demanded? Mariano Sevilla explains that RLUSD fulfills a critical institutional necessity that XRP by itself simply cannot provide. That's immediate, predictable price stability. It is the exact form of digital money that traditional compliance officers, central banks, and global corporations are already comfortable holding on their balance sheets. Now, by introducing a dollar-backed stablecoin directly into the XRP ledger, Ripple gives these institutions a familiar, safe entry point. They can hold their funds in RLUSD without worrying about market dips. Then, the moment they need to settle an international transaction, the network can utilize XRP behind the scenes to bridge that value into another foreign currency instantly. Now, here's my opinion. From where I sit observing the market, I can say that this strategy is a pure genius. Ripple realized they couldn't force conservative banks to adapt to the volatile nature of crypto overnight. So instead of trying to change the banks, Ripple changed the gateway. By providing RLUSD, Ripple removes the final excuse that institutional compliance departments had for staying away from the ledger. It allows institutions to operate within their comfort zone while still gaining all the speed and efficiency benefits of blockchain technology. Right, now how does increased RLUSD activity direct benefits to XRP holders? Now let's address the most important part for everyone holding the native token. If banks are holding and moving RLUSD, how does that help the price of XRP? Mariano Sevilla highlights a fundamental mechanic built directly into the architecture of the XRP ledger that answers this perfectly. Every single transaction executed using RLUSD on the ledger requires a network fee. And by law of the network, that fee must be paid in native XRP. Furthermore, that XRP used for the fee isn't paid to a mining company or a validator. It is permanently burned and completely removed from the total circulating supply forever. Now, my opinion is that this is the ultimate counter-argument to the fear that RLUSD replaces XRP. To me, every single dollar of volume that flows into RLUSD is actually a hidden engine driving the scarcity of XRP. As global adoption of Ripple's stablecoin grows, we are going to see millions of microtransactions happening every single day. This means transaction volume will skyrocket, liquidity on the decentralized exchange will deepen, and the burn rate of XRP will accelerate at a consistent, unstoppable pace. The more successful RLUSD becomes, the more utility and scarcity it forces into the native XRP token. Finally, here's our overall conclusion. When you step back and look at the entire picture, it becomes clear that evaluating either XRP or RLUSD in isolation completely misses the point of how Ripple's modern financial ecosystem is designed to function. They are not rivals. They are complementary pillars of a shared, highly sophisticated financial infrastructure. So in conclusion, Ripple did not create RLUSD to phase out XRP. They created it to onboard the largest financial institutions on earth who demand absolute price stability for their capital. RLUSD acts as the stable store of value that banks trust, while XRP acts as the underlying bridge currency that moves that value seamlessly across international borders. Now, here's my final take. This dual asset framework solves the ultimate paradox of enterprise blockchain adoption. It perfectly balances institutional compliance with decentralized speed. Instead of hurting XRP, RLUSD provides the massive utility, transaction volume, and network fees that will ultimately solidify XRP's position as the foundational asset of the future global financial system. And this finally ends our video. Thank you very much for watching, and see you on the next one. Or you might just as well check this next recommended video right here.